The trade hub known as Port Vera was alive with sound, color, and movement. Dozens of species walked the wide corridors, each one speaking in their own language, trading in glowing markets and filling the air with strange smells. To most of the galaxy, this was normal, but today something unusual walked into the busiest cafe on the station. It was a human. His name was Evan Cole, a traveler who had arrived only 2 days ago. To him, Port Vera was overwhelming. The buildings were shaped like crystals, the lights shimmered like water, and the aliens stared at him every time he passed by. Humans were rare this far from Earth, and many of these species had never seen one with their own eyes. Evan didn't mind. He was used to being an outsider. What he wanted now was simple: food. He stopped in front of the shimmering ladle, a cafe glowing with neon signs in several alien languages. The smell from inside was strange, but not bad. His stomach growled. He stepped through the doors. Inside, the cafe was busy. Tall, insect-like traders clicked their mandibles as they argued over prices. A group of scaled reptilian beings hissed and laughed at each other while drinking from steaming cups. Small furry aliens bounced in their seats, eating something that smelled like cinnamon and smoke. When Evan walked in, the room grew quiet for a second. Conversations slowed. Eyes turned. "A human?" someone whispered. "I thought they were only a rumor," said another. "They look so plain," muttered a third. Evan smiled politely and found an empty table. He had learned long ago not to let stares bother him. He pulled out the menu screen. Most of the items had long alien names with strange symbols, but the translations appeared, in small letters underneath: spiced fire broth, glass beetle stew, molten grain loaf. He raised an eyebrow. Nothing sounded like home food, but he had promised himself to try new things. A waitress approached. She was tall and slim, with pale blue skin that shimmered under the cafe lights. Her eyes were wide, a soft shade of silver, and her hands trembled slightly as she held the datapad. "Greetings, traveler," she said nervously. "I am Lyra, your server. You are human?" "That's right," Evan said with a friendly grin. "Don't worry, I don't bite." Her cheeks flushed a darker blue. She nodded quickly and looked at the menu. "Humans do not usually eat here. Our meals are not safe for every species." "Well," Evan said, leaning back, "what's the most popular dish in this place?" Lyra hesitated. "That would be spiced fire broth. It is very strong. Most species can only finish a small bowl." "Perfect," Evan said. "Bring me a large one." Her eyes widened. "A large, are you sure? Even the Quran only drink half, and they have heat-resistant organs." Evan just chuckled. "Trust me, I'll be fine." Lyra looked uncertain but wrote down the order. She walked away, glancing back several times as if expecting him to change. His mind, the other customers whispered loudly now. "Did you hear? The human ordered fire broth. He won't survive 3 sips." Someone call the medics already. Evan ignored them. He had eaten spicy food all over Earth and a few strange meals on alien ships, too. How bad could this be? After a few minutes, Lyra returned with a steaming bowl. The broth inside glowed faintly red, sending up waves of heat. The smell was sharp, burning his nose even before he touched the spoon. "Please, be careful," Lyra said softly as she placed it in front of him. Evan gave her a reassuring nod and picked up the spoon. The moment he tasted the broth, fire seemed to explode across his tongue. His eyes watered, his throat burned, and his stomach roared with heat, but after a second he smiled. "Not bad," he said. "Tastes a little like chili back home." The cafe went silent. Every pair of eyes stared at him as he kept eating. Spoon after spoon, he didn't stop. His face was red, yes, and he was sweating a little, but he looked more entertained than in pain. Halfway through, Lyra whispered, "He's still alive." By the time Evan finished the entire large bowl, the cafe was in shock. One insectoid merchant dropped his cup. The reptilian group hissed in disbelief. Even the furry creatures stopped bouncing. Evan wiped his mouth with a napkin. Delicious. Can I get another one? Lyra froze. Her silver eyes went wide, and then her legs gave out. She fainted on the spot, collapsing to the floor with a soft thud. The cafe erupted into noise. He wants another? No one survives 2 bowls. Is he even mortal? Evan blinked and looked down at Lyra, who was lying unconscious. He quickly got up and gently lifted her onto a chair. Hey, he said softly, fanning her with the menu. It's okay. I was just joking. You don't really need to bring another one. But even as he said it, he realized he wasn't really joking. He could probably eat another. The other customers began whispering excitedly. Some pulled out recording devices. Others hurried out the door to spread the news. A human had done the impossible in the shimmering ladle cafe. By the time Lyra woke up, the rumor had already left the building. The rumor traveled faster than Evan could have imagined. By the time Lyra had recovered from her fainting spell, the cafe already knew that a human had eaten 2 bowls of spiced fire broth without any harm. Within the hour, the story spread beyond the cafe doors, across the bustling corridors of Port Vera. Aliens everywhere whispered about the human who could withstand what most species could not. Merchants paused mid-transaction to gossip. Traders left their stalls to catch a glimpse, and even the security droid seemed to show a strange curiosity. Lyra, still feeling embarrassed, cleaned tables and avoided Evan's gaze. She could not understand why a simple human meal could cause such chaos. To her, he was just a friendly customer, someone who liked spicy food, but for the others, Evan was a living mystery. Humans really are strange, she muttered, quietly when she finally approached him. Evan smiled. We're not that strange, just a little different. She frowned. Different? You just ate something that could kill most species twice, and you were smiling the whole time. Evan shrugged. I like to enjoy my meals, that's all. Her eyes narrowed, skeptical but curious. Enjoy your meals? You don't even sweat? Maybe a little, he said, wiping a faint sheen from his forehead. But nothing serious, really. Lyra shook her head and walked away, still confused. Meanwhile, the whispers outside grew louder. By evening, the news had reached the station. Governor, a tall alien with 4 arms and scales of emerald green. He had never seen a human before, but he had heard rumors from his guards and traders. Curious and maybe slightly concerned, he summoned Evan to a private audience. When Evan entered the governor's office, he felt the weight of dozens of alien eyes, even though only a few were physically present. The governor studied him carefully. You are the human who caused chaos at the shimmering ladle? The governor asked, his voice deep and cautious. Yes, that's me, Evan said politely, though he had no idea why it was such a big deal. The governor's eyes narrowed. Your resilience is remarkable. Most species would have collapsed unconscious or worse. You consumed the spiced fire broth twice, and yet you are fine. Evan scratched the back of his head. It's not that impressive. I just adapt. That's all humans do. The governor was not satisfied with the answer. He waved his tentacle-like arm. Perhaps you do not understand. This is extraordinary. The way humans endure, the way you handle food and heat, it is unlike anything we have seen. Evan chuckled softly. I really don't mean to impress anyone. I just eat what's on the table. The governor studied him carefully. Perhaps your people have other unusual abilities. Strength, speed, intelligence. Evan shook his head. Not really. We just solve problems in ways other species might not expect. That's all. Meanwhile, back at the cafe, Lyra nervously prepared another order for Evan. She had almost recovered from her faint, but the sight of him ordering food again made her silver eyes widen. She tried to act calm. What would you like today? She asked cautiously. Evan looked at the menu. I'll have the molten grain loaf this time, and a small fire broth, for fun. The cafe froze. One of the insectoid merchants nearly dropped a glowing orb of juice. He wants more? Whispered another. Yes, Evan said, smiling. I like trying new things. Lyra hesitated, then carefully prepared the food. Her hands shook slightly, but she couldn't hide her curiosity. Why was this human so different from everyone else she had served? Before she could serve Evan, a loud voice interrupted the cafe. Human, prove your toughness again. A reptilian trader stepped forward, crossing his long, clawed arms. I have heard rumors of your feats, but I do not believe them. No single being can survive 2 bowls of spiced fire broth without consequence. If you are truly human, finish this. He slammed a small dish onto the table, the contents hissed and smoked. A concentrated dose, only the strongest can handle it. The cafe went silent. Lyra's jaw dropped. She wanted to protest, but something told her to stay quiet. Evan looked at the dish calmly. Really? He said with a small laugh. You want me to eat this? Yes, the trader said, his scales bristling. If you fail, you are unworthy. Evan picked up the spoon. The broth was hotter, stronger, and the smell alone made most aliens back away. He took a sip, then another. The heat was incredible, but he focused on breathing slowly, letting his body adapt. Minutes later, the dish was empty. Evan sat down, the spoon, and smiled. Delicious. The cafe erupted into noise. Lyra's hands flew to her mouth. He survived it. Again. The trader looked pale and shaken. He stepped back, unsure of what to say. Impossible. Huh. The following morning, the cafe was unusually quiet. Most of the station still buzzed with whispers about the human who had eaten 2 bowls of spiced fire broth and survived. Lyra kept glancing at Evan as she wiped tables, still bewildered by what she had witnessed the previous day. Evan, however, seemed entirely at ease. He was used to standing out, and to him, the attention was more amusing than intimidating. He took a small sip of water, scanning the cafe with mild curiosity. Before he could take another bite of breakfast, a messenger arrived. A holographic note flickered into the air in front of him. Evan Cole, please report to Governor Vera's office immediately. Your presence is requested. The governor's office. Lyra's eyes widened. The governor wants to see you? Now? Evan nodded. Seems like it. Don't worry, I'll be back. The corridors of the station were crowded with traders, security droids, and travelers, all pausing to watch the human walk by. Whispers followed him, some of admiration, some of disbelief. When he entered the governor's office, he was greeted by the tall, emerald-scaled alien who had summoned him. Around the governor were several advisors, each from a different species, all of whom looked at him with curiosity and caution. Sit, human, the governor said. We have observed your unusual abilities. Evan lowered himself into a chair, carefully. Abilities? I only eat well. The governor leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. You solved a problem yesterday in the cafe, without even realizing it. Many of our citizens would have been hurt if not for your calm and quick action. Evan blinked. I didn't solve anything. I just ate my food and stayed calm. The governor's eyes seemed to sparkle with interest. And yet, your calm and your endurance are remarkable. We have a dinner tonight with several important representatives from neighboring systems. A kitchen accident could ruin everything. If you are willing, we would like your help in preventing disaster. Evan tilted his head. You want me to attend the dinner, to make sure nothing goes wrong? Yes, said the governor. Sometimes problems appear that most species cannot handle. Humans apparently have unique ways of dealing with them. You will observe and, if necessary, intervene. Evan smiled. All right, I'll do my best. The dinner was held in a grand hall filled with diplomats, traders, and station officials. Silver chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and tables were adorned with glowing fruits, steaming dishes, and beverages that shimmered like liquid rainbows. Lyra stood near Evan, serving quietly, but keeping a watchful eye. As the meal progressed, a strange odor began to fill the room. Some dishes started releasing toxic fumes. Several aliens began coughing and backing away. The cooks panicked, unsure how to stop the spread. Evan didn't panic. Instead, he scanned the room quickly. He noticed that the ventilation system had a malfunctioning vent near the main table. The toxic fumes were slowly moving toward the diplomats. "Excuse me," he said calmly, standing. Everyone moved slightly to the side, just a little to the left. The aliens complied, puzzled but trusting the human who seemed so confident. Evan grabbed trays of food that were leaking fumes and carried them away from the guests, placing them near the far wall. He then pointed to the vent. "It's the vent, it's blocked. Open it and the smoke will clear." A young engineer ran forward, doing exactly as Evan instructed. The fumes dissipated within seconds. The room erupted into murmurs and whispers. Lyra looked at him, her silver eyes wide with awe. "How did you know what to do?" Evan shrugged. "I just looked around. You notice patterns when you want to help people." The governor smiled broadly. "Remarkable. You see solutions where others panic. This is exceptional. Humans truly are different." Evan simply nodded. "I just try to stay calm. Most problems look worse if you panic." After the dinner, the station buzzed with new excitement. The diplomats left impressed, speaking of the human who had saved the event without any special tools or weapons. Rumors spread even faster than before. Lyra approached Evan once they were alone. I don't understand. You didn't fight anyone. You didn't even use your hands for strength. And yet everyone says you saved the day." Evan laughed softly. "It's not about fighting. Humans survive by thinking, by adapting, by working together. That's what everyone notices, I think. You all call it special, I call it normal." Her hands rested on the table, trembling slightly. "Normal? You're anything but normal to us. You are inspiring." Evan smiled gently. "Thank you, Lyra. That means a lot." Just then, the station's communication hub lit up with a new alert. A pirate gang had been spotted approaching the trade hub. They were heading straight for the cafe district. Evan looked at Lyra calmly. "Well, I guess it's time to see if humans can handle a different kind of problem." Lyra's eyes widened. "Pirates? Here? But they could destroy everything." Evan shook his head. "Maybe, but panicking won't help. Let's figure out how to protect people first." The cafe became a command center of sorts. Traders and patrons moved quickly, clearing civilians out of the danger zone. Lyra stayed close to Evan, ready to assist. The pirates arrived in their ships, firing weapons that sent sparks and debris across the district. Most aliens froze, unsure of what to do. Evan, however, remained calm. He noticed that the pirates' weapons had predictable patterns. He instructed groups of civilians to move in specific directions to avoid danger and used nearby carts and tables to create barriers. He didn't carry a weapon, yet his strategies caused chaos for the attackers. The pirates became frustrated as every move they made was countered by a human who seemed to anticipate their actions. Finally, the pirates retreated, confused and unable to capture anything. The civilians cheered, though most were still in shock. Lyra looked at Evan with admiration. You did it," she said softly. "You saved all of us." Evan smiled. "We did it. I just helped everyone stay calm and think ahead. That's all." The governor's voice came over the comms. "Human, you have proven something extraordinary. Your species is remarkable." Evan waved lightly. "I'm just glad everyone is safe." Even though Evan downplayed it, the whispers across Port Vera confirmed one thing. Humans were more than just resilient. They were clever, calm, and capable in ways that others could not fully understand. And for Lyra, the realization was clear. This human was not only unusual, he was special. The calm of Port Vera lasted only a few hours after Evan's quiet heroics at the governor's dinner. By midday, alarms blared across the station. Red lights flashed through the corridors. Traders and travelers ran for cover, and the intercom announced in urgent tones, "Pirate raid! All civilians evacuate the cafe district immediately." Lyra froze. Her silver eyes widened as she looked at Evan. Pirates? Here? Now? Evan remained calm. Looks like we're going to test another kind of problem today. Let's make sure people are safe first. The streets outside the shimmering ladle were chaos. Alien merchants abandoned their stalls, leaving goods scattered across the walkways. Security droids fired warning shots at approaching pirate skiffs. Panic echoed through the trade hub. Lyra followed Evan as he moved calmly through the crowd. He instructed frightened civilians, directing them toward safe corridors, away from open areas where pirates could fire their weapons. His presence was oddly comforting. People trusted him even if they didn't understand why. Over here, Evan called to a group of small, furry aliens. He guided them under a large awning, shielding them from stray shots. Stay low and follow me. Lyra stayed close, marveling at how quickly he assessed danger. How can you stay so calm? She whispered. Panicking doesn't help anyone, Evan said simply. Focus on what you can do and do it. The pirate skiffs began landing near the cafe district. Tall, armored figures emerged, wielding strange weapons that glowed with energy. Most of the alien shoppers froze, unsure how to fight. Lyra wanted to hide, but something about Evan's confidence kept her moving forward. Evan looked around and noticed the terrain. Stalls, carts, and machinery littered the streets. He quickly formulated a plan. Using nearby carts as barriers, he created narrow paths that slowed down the pirates. He pointed to 2 large crates near the main street. Push these over if they come this way, it'll block their path. Several traders hesitated. It's dangerous, one shouted. Evan smiled. Yes, but it's safer than standing still. Trust me. With careful precision, they moved the crates. As a pirate skiff approached, it crashed into the barrier, halting its advance. The passengers fell into a pile of crates, dazed. The humans and aliens on the street cheered quietly, amazed at the cleverness of a single human directing the defense. The pirate captain, a tall being covered in black scales, stomped forward, furious. Who is this human? He is interfering with our raid. Evan stepped into the open street, hands raised but calm. I'm just making sure everyone stays safe, that's all, the captain growled. You dare challenge us? Evan didn't flinch. Instead, he scanned the area for anything he could use. He noticed a row of supply drones hovering above. With a quick gesture, he triggered a nearby control panel, causing the drones to move and drop crates along the pirate path. The pirates stumbled, their weapons tangled in the fallen supplies. The crowd gasped. Even Lyra couldn't believe what she was seeing. He's outsmarting them, she whispered. Evan didn't strike a single pirate. He didn't fire a weapon. He simply used his observation, planning, and quick thinking to make the pirate's own path. The streets of Port Vera were quiet for the first time in days. The pirate attack had ended, and the citizens were slowly returning to their routines. Yet the buzz about Evan's heroics had only grown louder. Merchants spoke of him in hushed tones. Traders at the station's markets repeated the story to anyone who would listen. Lyra, meanwhile, struggled to process what she had seen. She found Evan sitting at a small table in the shimmering ladle, sipping a warm beverage. His calm demeanor made it seem as if nothing had happened at all, but the cafe's chaos from earlier days still lingered in the background. I still don't understand, Lyra said softly as she approached. You handled pirates, saved civilians, and you didn't even use weapons. You just thought, how is that possible? Evan smiled gently. I didn't do anything magical. Humans just adapt. We survive by thinking, by observing, by helping each other. That's it. Her silver eyes searched his face. It feels like more than that, like there's a secret to humans that no one else sees. Evan chuckled lightly. No secret, really. We just don't panic. When something bad happens, we focus on solutions, not fear. That's the difference. Lyra nodded slowly, still unsure if she fully understood. So humans are different? Yes, Evan said simply. Different doesn't mean better, it just means special in ways that matter when it counts. The cafe had returned to normal, but every tray, table, and plate seemed to carry echoes of the past few days. Traders whispered behind counters, clearly trying to get Evan's attention. Some offered gifts. Others bowed politely, hoping for a smile. Evan accepted everything politely, but never flaunted his abilities. Lyra watched quietly. She had served countless species in her years at the cafe, but never anyone like him. His presence had changed the way everyone acted. Aliens who had once been rude or indifferent now watched humans with respect, curiosity, and even admiration. "You really inspire people," she said softly, even without trying. Evan shook his head. "I don't inspire anyone on purpose, I just do what I can." She hesitated, then asked, "Do all humans act this way? Calm, clever, fearless?" He thought for a moment. "Not all, but most of us try to help when we can. We're stubborn and creative. When things get tough, we find ways to get through. That's what others notice. That's what makes us special." Lyra's eyes widened. "I can see it. I've watched you. You've changed the way this station sees humans." Evan smiled. "Good, but I hope it doesn't make anyone afraid of us. Humans just want to live, explore, and help when we can." A few hours later, a new message arrived at the cafe. It was a formal invitation from an alien envoy who had been observing the station for days. The message requested a private audience with Evan. Lyra watched as he read it and smiled faintly. "They want to see you. Alone," she said cautiously. Evan nodded. "It seems humans are in the spotlight more than I expected." She frowned. "Are you worried?" He shook his head. "Not really. I just need to understand why they want to meet me. That's all." Lyra offered to accompany him, but Evan refused politely. "It's fine. You've already helped more than you realize. I'll handle this one on my own." The envoy was waiting at a quiet observation deck overlooking the station's docking bay. Tall and elegant, with eyes that shimmered like liquid silver, the alien studied Evan closely. "You are the human who handled the pirate raid," the envoy said, voice calm but firm. "Your actions have been noted. We wish to understand your people." Evan tilted his head. "Understand humans? There's not much to understand. We try to survive, solve problems, and help others when we can." The envoy's eyes narrowed. "And yet your species adapts faster than most. You inspire others without trying. You think clearly when others panic. You survive situations that would destroy many other species. Why?" Evan smiled softly. "Because we have to. Humans grow by facing challenges. We learn from every problem, every mistake, every danger. That's how we become better. That's why we survive." The envoy considered his words carefully. "So this resilience, cleverness, calm, it is natural to your species?" "Yes," Evan said. "It's not magic. We just don't give up. We adapt, we help, and we find a way. That's all humans do." The alien nodded slowly. "We will report this to the council. Your species may become important in the future. Others will watch closely." Evan shrugged. "That's fine. I just hope everyone sees humans as friends, not threats." Back at the cafe, Lyra poured a cup of steaming beverage and sat quietly. She had never seen anyone like Evan. In her heart, she understood now. Humans were not just strong or clever. They were determined, adaptive, and full of quiet courage. "You've taught me a lot," she said softly. "Not just about humans, but about calm, thinking, and helping others. I respect you more than I can say." Evan smiled warmly. "Thank you, Lyra. That means more than you know. But remember, anyone can do what I do if they try. It's about staying calm and thinking ahead." She nodded, feeling a strange mixture of pride and admiration. She knew that Evan's actions had not just saved the cafe or the station. They had changed the way the aliens thought about humans. And as the sun set over Port Vera, Lyra realized something important. Humans were more than just visitors in the galaxy. They were problem solvers, adapters, and helpers, and they inspired hope in ways no one could ignore. Evan looked out at the horizon, sipping his drink calmly. "I wonder what challenges tomorrow will bring," he said softly. "Whatever they are, we'll handle them. That's what humans do." Lyra smiled quietly to herself, watching the calm human who had changed the galaxy, one small act at a time. And somewhere across Port Vera, whispers began anew. Humans are special, and they may be more important than anyone realizes. The following day, Port Vera was alive with a sense of anticipation. Word of Evan's feats, the cafe challenge, the pirate raid, and his calm problem-solving had reached every corner of the station. Traders, officials, and ordinary citizens alike spoke of the human who seemed to do the impossible. Even Lyra felt a nervous excitement. She had served hundreds of species in her years, but never one who had so profoundly changed the perception of an entire station. Today she would see Evan one last time before the alien envoy returned to formally meet with him and deliver their report. Evan, as usual, remained calm. He sipped a warm beverage at his favorite table in the shimmering ladle, watching the bustling crowd. He knew the envoy would arrive soon, but he didn't feel anxious. To him, these were simply more people to meet, more opportunities to solve problems, and more moments to help others. Lyra approached him quietly. "They are coming today," she said. "The envoy. They want to see you officially." Evan nodded. "I'm ready. Let's just make sure everything goes smoothly." The envoy arrived shortly after, accompanied by several advisors and guards. The delegation was tall and elegant, their movements precise and formal. They observed Evan with careful scrutiny as they entered the cafe. "You are the human we have been watching," the envoy said. Their voice was calm, but carried weight. "Your actions over the past days have been extraordinary. We wish to officially recognize your species for what you have demonstrated: resilience, cleverness, and the ability to inspire others." Evan tilted his head. "Recognize us? Really? I didn't do anything special." The envoy's eyes shimmered. "Your people may appear ordinary at first glance, but your abilities, adaptation, problem-solving, calmness under stress, are remarkable. They have not gone unnoticed by the galaxy." Lyra looked at Evan with wide silver eyes. "You see? Even they understand now." Evan smiled softly. "I guess humans really are getting noticed." "That's nice," the envoy continued, speaking formally to the gathered crowd. "Henceforth, humans will be regarded as a species of great importance. Their ability to face challenges, solve problems, and protect others without relying solely on strength or weapons is exemplary." Whispers and murmurs swept through the crowd. Some aliens nodded respectfully. Others looked at Evan in awe. For the first time, the human's reputation in the galaxy was being recognized officially. After the formal announcement, the envoy stepped aside, allowing Evan to speak. "I appreciate this recognition," Evan said calmly. "But humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. We are not invincible. What we do have is the ability to think, adapt, and work together. That's what helps us survive. And that's what allows us to help others when danger comes." Lyra felt a swell of admiration. He wasn't boasting, he wasn't trying to impress anyone. He simply spoke the truth about humans, quietly proud without arrogance. "You've inspired many of us," Lyra said softly as she stood beside him. "Even without trying, you've changed how we see your species. You've shown us what humans can do." Evan smiled at her. "That's good. That's really all I hope for. If people see that humans can help, stay calm, and solve problems, maybe it encourages them to do the same in their own lives." The crowd slowly dispersed, leaving Evan and Lyra alone at the cafe. The atmosphere was calm, yet charged with quiet respect. Lyra poured him a cup of steaming drink, her hands still trembling slightly with awe. "You know," she said softly, "I think you've taught me more about humans than I ever imagined. Your courage, your calm, it's inspiring." Evan laughed lightly. I just do what I can. Any human would do the same if they had the chance. She shook her head. No, you're different. Not just ordinary humans. You're special. Evan tilted his head, smiling. Maybe I am. Or maybe humans in general,